Good evening, everyone, or good evening from the UK. It is Friday, the 21st of April. This is MV broadcasting using Action PC. Turn off my Street Fighter. Using Action PC Baseball 23, and I've been experimenting all afternoon, getting ready for the draft, which will be on Beatles Eternalist channel, I believe, on Tuesday night, Eastern Standard Time, I believe. But while I was doing that, one of the things we've come into, we were experimenting with was how to use Action PC to get the best from the AI, because it's a bit controversial, but the game is actually really, really deep, or I should say the engine is deep, and getting to use it is something I'm getting better and better at. And a part of the Action 23 I never really got into. I was more interested in playing out the games, like managing the games. But I can't sit down and do 162 games or whatever, 154 games. Well, I can if I painstakingly do it every single day. But and I could, and I probably would enjoy it really, really a lot actually. But I am trying to understand how to get the best from the AI, so that when leagues do come up, whether it's my own leagues or it's another league that's set up within the community, that I'm able to get the best from the AI. And I think I've figured a few things out by watching Steve Tate's broadcasts, but also playing around with my own settings as part of the Ned McGreevy League, hosted by Beatles Eternally some time ago, and also the Harry Shanks Bingo League, which has concluded its first season. In a way, we had to kind of blow it up a bit, because just to reset how to use the AI. So earlier on today, you saw me playing around with my numbers generator to get more practice with some of the players I'm less familiar with, some of the decades I'm less familiar with. And that was interesting. I only did it for 25 minutes, but I thought, well, do you know what? Well, I've got some time, and now I'll come back in. Let me play around with a season, a real season, and see if I can take the worst team to a better record in one sitting. Like, just let the AI play it out a season, stop every month to see where we are, and see if I can get more than 55 wins from the Houston Astros. So there it is, 2012 season. I am not as familiar with setting things up, but I know how to set this up. And one of the things I'm going to do here is set the rules. Just bear with me. There we are. And I am not going to make the National League DH. Apply park effect, yes. Catcher fatigue, yes. Ejections, yes. Okay, that's good, all good. Rosters, just looking at the rosters limit, 25, that's fine. Usage, I'm okay with that. There's so many different things to keep looking at. Coach decision clock, I never saw that before. Interesting. Set this on Cincinnati Reds. No, Houston Astros, sorry. That's all good. So I am using at the moment a combination of the standard photos I've collected all came with the game, and Steve Tate's wonderful set that he's got. I don't think Steve would mind me doing this. Steve Tate's been an excellent resource for park sounds. It's just everything with this game, and we got talking the other day on his channel around, how to get the best from this engine. So I want to set it so everybody has the same rules. I'm just trying, here we are. All pairs active. That's fine. I want to make it that GMs can make moves for other teams. And this is where the game gets tricky, because it's like, okay, where do you find all that stuff? Utilities. Organize, that's it. Organize. Managers, there we go. Allow GM to make roster changes subject to league rules. That is grayed out and ticked. So that must be default. But here's the one that I wanted to play around with for the league as a global. It says Arizona, actually. Set all teams the above settings, right. So never preset, that's okay. Occasionally sub players on pace to exceed real life usage. Yes, we'll do that for this replay. Sub for tied catches yet, but I'm going to take that one off. Advance next lineup after each game. No, take that off. I think that gets the best results. We also said quality would enable us to set new depth charts automatically based on quality of player. Good, that's also done. My lineups will be chosen from these two, but occasionally the AI will sub for tied catches and other players requiring rest days. So player quality then would override that. So if I leave it back to usage, that would make sense logically. So go back to default. Allow the GM, it's ticked, so that's already set. Set for all teams, yes. The only thing I'm going to let me just double check the Houston Astros. So there's the Houston Astros team. I went into the subfolder, so all the pictures have disappeared again. So let's go back to that. Back to organize. Back to managers. No, this is where the game just gets really, really tricky. I already went through this, didn't I? So setup. No. Tools. Or rules. No. Rules it'll be. Yep, I'm going to take that off so it picks up the main pictures. It should do that in a 2 ticks. There you go. So there we are. So we've got all, and I'm using Steve Tate's, like I said, a mixture of my own ones and Steve Tate's ones. Miguel Cabrera never made the actual Howie Shanks. There were so many people that were left off. So now I've got everything set. Let me go into Houston. I don't know too much about these this year, that season. I wasn't following baseball at the time. I do recognize, funny enough, only this guy, Carlos Lee. So the first thing we do, see, it keeps the lineups as is. Now what I am going to do though is change my depth chart. Yes. If I want to. So in this particular case, I've got Castro. If I go to catchers here, I've got Jason Castro. Never heard of this guy. He bats .257. Do I want him as my starter against righties? Just checking his stats. So I would go to batting versus left and right. He's average against righties. Let's do it against lefties first. Average versus lefties. Carlos Castro bats 148. Chris Snyder bats 169. Oh my goodness. Are they that bad? So it looks like my main catcher will be a guy called Carlos Corcoran. But Carlos Corcoran only played in 27 games. So he's not going to be the starter. However, they're terrible. They are shocking. My goodness me, they are really, really bad. Why did I pick them? Anyway, that's that. They are shockingly bad. So we're going to do a platoon situation here. So versus right-handers, which is the most things they're going to face, Jason Castro is decent, so he will start. Carlos Corcoran will be the backup in the minors, and that then brings me down to the following catcher, Chris Snyder, who is really poor. So they're not very good. Chris Snyder will play here. So Corcoran is in there, but he's never going to get in unless there's an injury. So that's that done. First baseman versus righties. We have a good chance with Carlos Lee. My God, it's shockingly bad. There's quite a few to choose from. So average versus righty. Brett Wallace has the best chances. Catcher, first baseman we're looking for, aren't we? Brett Wallace. It's got Matt Downs. So there's a combination already. That's probably... Wallace is the star, so that's fine. Do I need to platoon him versus lefties? Catcher Chris Snyder. They're shockingly bad. Jeez. They are bad. Do I have any stars on this team? Average versus righties. Carlos Lee seems to be the best player on the team. And yet he's not a starter, so he must be DHing. Yes, he is. I'm happy with that. I don't know what his stats are as a defender. And this is where it can get deep. I mean, geez, this is just a bad team, though. First baseman, 5. Okay. So I'll leave it at... I'll let the computer generate it again. And let's change it somewhat. My lineup already in there. I didn't put this lineup out there, the computer did. But I'll just see if it makes any sense. Versus lefties versus righties. I'll get to know them as they go along. Juan Altuve is in there. Great stuff. Now, why is it saying NA for Maxwell? See, the computer actually has demoted Brett Wallace. Why? Interesting. See, this is where I wanted to just have a look and see what's going on here. Larry, why is it saying short? Okay, let's try and see if that makes a difference. Judd Larry is a shortstop. Right, so I'm just going to play around with this just a little bit here. But Lowry, catcher. Jason Castro is the catcher. Right. Takes you a while to get to know the players if you're not familiar with them. Oh my life. Let's have a look. There's got to be a better way of looking at this. Oh, here we go. Batters. Juan Altuve is the second baseman, so we're happy with him. Yes. Marwin. So let's do it again. Catcher. Carlos Corcoran, Jason Castro, or Chris Snyder. It's going to be versus righties. Oh my God. We need people to get on base. Forget the average. Look at the on base. Carlos Lee is in. Yes, we've got him. Carlos Lee will play first base. But he's not there. And there's no DH. Yes, there is a DH. So Carlos, you're going to be my DH in my team? No, you're a DH. That's better. So Carlos Lee just have to move up and down the line. Chris Johnson, third base. Are you in the team? Yes, you are. Jason Castro, are you in the team? Yes, you are. Marvin Gonzalez, are you in the team? Yes, you are. Jose Altuve, you are the superstar of the team. Yes, you're in there. Scott Moore, no. Yeesh. JD Martinez was in the side team, right. So JD Martinez, you'll play left field. Great. Who's right field? Right field was a weakness in 2012, it looks like. These are terrible. Brian Bukasevich. So the right guys are there for right-handers. So I'm going to save this for versus right. I still haven't finished it, but I'll just play around with it a little bit. Carlos Lee's my power. Power should follow power, I believe. What's Schaefer like? Oh my goodness. He's shocking. What's Downs like? Shocking. Wow, they're really bad. Bukasevich, which I didn't do this project. Bukasevich. Okay, so I'm happy with the Altuve. Johnson. Where's Johnson going to go? Wow, this is just shockingly bad. Castro, what's Castro like? Yeah. Okay. Okay. It looks like they're going to have to do. Downs, where's Downs? Matt Downs is just not good enough. So I'm going to drop Matt Downs from the team. You become inactive. And I'm going to make Steve Pearce active. That did not work. What did I just do? Pearce. That's better. Saying is not applicable. Why? Okay, it must be to do with the fact. Okay, alright. Not a problem. Deactivate Pearce. And put in, oh my goodness gracious me, it is shockingly bad. It's bad. It's just so bad. Well, I'll save that lineup anyway. Right, and then versus left. Not much better really, the same players. Alright, we'll see where we go. There's a player missing, so Chris Snyder. The DH is missing. Castro, Chris Snyder. So Chris Snyder, you'll be on DH. So this wouldn't have been the order I would have chosen. So I'm just going to move around just a little bit until I get to know the players. But I know some players, but it's more about, the experiment is more about, can I get used to how the AI is going to use them? Okay, good. So that's that. So that's okay. Let's have a look at our rotation. Again, I'm not familiar with these players from Houston. Wandy Rodriguez, Happ, J.A. Happ, Harold Norris Loves. These looks like minor leaguers. But there is a Dallas Keuchel there, who I do recognize. The Dallas Keuchel that is here is inactive. So what we're going to do, we'll ask the computer to generate. Again, there he is. He's got into the lineup. Again, I don't know these players, but I'm just setting it up the way I would do normally. Pinch hitters, clear. Let the computer generate it for now till I learn who they are. So there we are. We've got our depth chart more or less started. Catcher, Castro's going to do both. First base, Lee is going to be the hitter, but he's going to be platooned with Wallace. I didn't expect that. Altuve's second. Third is going to be Johnson. Shortstop is going to be Green and Lowry. Left field, Martinez. Center field, Schaefer or Maxwell. Right field, Bukasevich. Designated hitter, Laird or Buck. Okay, I can live with that. Let's have a look at the bullpen. Jeez. It's a little bit better, actually, in some areas. Myers, to protect Myers, who is the closer, I'm only going to bring him in the ninth inning. when our lead is by 1. Myers, where are you? So I'm telling the AI exactly what I want. Hey, Big Clue. Yeah, I mean, it's shockingly bad, Big Clue. What I'm trying to do is use the AI to see if I can improve them, but oh my god, these are really, 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 really bad. It's amazing how they're now one of the greatest teams of all time, and Altuve is part of that still to this day. But I'm looking at these guys, I mean, it would be so much easier for me if I knew who they were. You keep saying NA though, I don't understand that. But yet they're in here. Anyway, it's not saying inactive, just saying not applicable. So here we go. Oh, I know why. They've got to be set up with to organise rosters, tools. It's got to be where it's the amount of players. Set all players active. Generate 25-man rosters. But it's not letting me do that. So that's fine. I'll just stick with it. Set all teams to computer GM. No. Yes. Execute team tools. Yes. Go back to Houston. It would, and then take Houston off of that. Yep, take allow. So unclick that. Now I should have my IA NAs. I don't know what NA is for. Anywho, and let's put him back, Myers, as a pitcher. But Clue, if you knew who this guy was, Brett Myers. It looks semi-decent. I'll put Myers in as my first choice closer when we are leading by 1. Where are you, Myers? Brett Myers, here we go. Big Clue, just going in here. Scoring an inning, I just did. Lead by 1. 9th inning, right, gotcha. It takes a bit of a while to get used to it. Yeah, I hope so, Big Clue. Did you see my earlier broadcast? I did one for 25 minutes. But I kind of just testing it out a little bit. I've even still got the generator on the screen here. There you go, Clue, there's one for you. 1939, you got 5 minutes. Right, so, okay, thanks, Clue. So Brett Myers is somebody I don't know about, but I'm going to give him a chance. In the out of the park, this would be perfect because, I could make him really become good. Lopez. Wilton Lopez. What a face. Anyway, now he looks good. So maybe Wilton Lopez, he's down as closer. I might do him 9th inning, 8th inning, tied. Wilton Lopez. Okay, 9th inning. Lead by 1. This is where you can play around with it. I'm not going to overdo it, but I'm learning as I go along. Brett Myers is there, but I also want Wilton Lopez to be the second choice here. So that's better. Because what that's saying up here is who's the first versus left and right. Now I'm going to look at pitching versus left and right. Brett Myers, average versus lefty, 318, versus righty, 246. Lopez against righties is worse, 5, but against lefties he's much better. So this is where I would change Lopez instead of Myers here, and Myers at the very least will go here. Right, that's a little bit better. So the computer's going to think when a righty comes in, Brett Myers is the right one. Lefty comes in at the plate, bring in Lopez. But it's also going to look down here depending on the inning. So if it was the 9th inning, which one's going to override which? Myers will override Lopez. But up here, the computer must make a choice as to who comes in. Joe D. Here's another one, Clue. Anyone watching? 1973, Clue. Hap. Okay, so Hap I don't know anything about. See, this is when I wasn't watching baseball. There you go, Clue, 1973. I'm thinking Oakland A's. I'm thinking Big Red Machine. I'm thinking Mets. Somebody from one of those clubs. Wandy Rodriguez, yeah, would later have a few decent sessions. Kuchel I've heard of. The understatement of the year, Big Clue, most of these guys are crap. Can I just look at the Reds for a second, your boys? Does this look like their lineup? Let me see. I know Joey Votto. I know Jay Bruce. They were pretty good together, I think. The rest, I have no idea who they are. Zach Cozart, I think I've heard that name before. Scott Rowland is on this team. He's a Hall of Famer. Him I do know. But it's saying Scott Rowland, 37 years old, in 2012. Was he that old by then? It took him long enough to get into the Hall of Fame then, didn't it? Brandon Phillips, I'm aware of. Pitching. Homer Bailey. I remember Homer Bailey was supposed to be really good. Did he die young? No, he's still alive. Apologies, anyone watching offended by that. Homer Bailey for some. I do remember watching him pitch once. Bronson Arroyo with the hair. I remember him. Aroldis Chapman. Wow, I did not know that was a. So here's one clue. 2012 comes up, and you'll take Pete Rose in 1973. Aroldis Chapman, 19. This would have been the year he came out, isn't it? This is a good pick, isn't it, for 2012? Johnny Cueto. There's good pitching here. Good pitching. Anyway, let's see what happens. So I'm going to start it with my lineup. I don't think I've done anything with it other than I'm going to go to manager preferences again. And this is what I would have done, is look at some of these things here and see, is there anything I can do to help this team out? Pitch around, we're going to say often. Pitch aggressively, you can't have both. Late defensive double, they're all rubbish. There's not really a lot you can do other than I'm going to pull my starter after, say, 3 runs. No. Because this offense isn't up to much. But yet, on the offense itself, Clue, you've got Altuve, J.D. Martinez, Carlos Lee. They're not that bad, even at this stage of their careers. Press OK, and let's go. Yeah, he had 2 no-hitters. Wow. I knew of him, but I just didn't. I just remember him being hyped up a lot. The little bit of baseball at that time that I was watching at the time. So in this case, does it allow me to play the season? Scheduled game. Did it import a season schedule? Looks like it did. So I'll just play the first day out. Auto, Oakland at Seattle. No, Seattle at Oakland. And the Seattle Mariners beat the Oakland A's 4-3. So, no other game scheduled on the following day. Here we are, full schedule. Wow. For you, Clue, as you're online, we'll do the Reds. You might even remember this schedule. I don't see Cincinnati up here, actually. No, there is no Cincinnati. Am I going blind, Clue? So what I'll do is, I will, just for giggles, San Francisco lose to Miami. Minnesota beat lose to LA Anaheim, Boston Red Sox, Club Oakland. In fact, I'll make it easy for myself just by clicking HH. I do not see Cincinnati unless I'm going blind. Okay, so let's play the day. Play May 1st. Except for Houston, New York. They probably had a day off. And here we are in Houston. I'll just see how they play, because I just want to see what they look like. Computer play. They are shockingly bad. Nice, they're up against John Nice. So, versus left. Okay, so it's not allowing me to do that, right? Okay, that's fine. Any suggestions here, Chloe? So I'm just looking at it from what the little bit I know. Carlos, these two are fine. I don't know much about Larry. I really don't know who that guy is. I can see a project coming on with this one, to be fair. Anyway, just leave it as it is. There you go, Clue, 1947. Right, here we go. Pierce was a World Series hero with the Red Sox. Okay. So here we go. Welcome to opening day at Minute Maid Park for tonight's game between the New York Mets and Houston Astros. Jonathan Lee starts for New York. He'll be opposed by J.A. Happ for Houston. It's 83 degrees. Wind speed is 6 miles per hour out to right center field. I'm just testing out a little experiment here with the AI. So I'm not managing anything specifically, just to see how it actually works. So I'll be simming the entire season in about, hopefully 10 minutes it will take. But I am playing the first game out just to get a feel for who the team is. And I've been aided and abetted by Big Clue, who is reminiscing about some of the names here. I generally don't have a clue. I probably have a clue about the New York Mets. Like, let's see now, David Wright. Is it Ike Davis? And they would have had a really good minor league system at the time, and they would flourish in about 3 years' time. The year is 2012. Here's Happ on the mound. The pictures, there's no picture for Happ. If I just go through the defense, Chris Snyder behind the plate, Carlos Lee at first, Jose Altuve at second, Jed Lowry, I've heard of him, at short, Matt Downs at third, J.D. Martinez, a slugging J.D. Martinez in left, in center field, Justin Maxwell, and in right field, Brian Bukasevich. Now, most of these players I do not... So, Big Clue is telling me something here. He says, nice to see Captain America David Wright before the injuries, though. That's cool. By the way, want to hear something fun? That Turner at second. Which Turner now is that? Yes, the one I can see in the Mets, yep. Is the Dodgers third baseman. Really? Wow. Wow. At second. See, this is what I'm learning all the time. I don't play this era at all. So anyway, we're going to go with it. J.A. Happ is going to start. Big clear, funny. They were not the type you wanted to see. That's fair enough. Here we go. Got to remember not to pitch number one, because that will turn off the sim. Here's Happ. New and Heiss. Up the middle, base hit for the Mets. So the Mets start off with a base hit, to be expected. What do I know about J.A. Happ? Anything on J.A. Happ? Other than J.A. Happ, I don't see anything about him of note. Here we go. Here's Ruben Tejada. I thought it was Miguel Tejada. Big Clue continues to school me here on what's going on. The Reds had Turner and Todd Frazier and cut Turner. The Mets picked him up and kept Frazier. Another bonehead move. Yeah. Here's Tejada up the middle. Base hits, 2 base hits for the Mets. Happ has put the first 2 runners on. This is not looking good at all. How good was Happ? I'm sure you told me Happ was decent. So 2 men on. Here comes Justin Turner, the man who was cut by, according to Big Clue, the Reds had Turner and Todd Frazier and cut Turner to keep Frazier. The Mets picked him up, so they picked him up the Reds. So Justin Turner is a castaway from the Cincinnati Reds. The Justin Turner, who is now, and still, if I remember correctly, a Dodger. So here's Justin Turner at the plate, Happ to him. Turner up the middle, 3 base hits up to center field. And Neuenhaus, is he coming home? Yes, he does. 1-0 Mets. 3 base hits up the middle. Wow. So Happ looks in. Snyder puts the signs down. Man on first and second. The Mets, Captain America himself, David Wright, at the plate. So Happ, I'm told, went on to become a decent starter, like a number 3 in the rotation for the Toronto Blue Jays in the late 2010s. And here's Wright, hits it down the line. Downs has it across to Altuve. Altuve off to Lee. Double play. So 2 men out. The New York Mets lead 1-0. I'm probably going to zoom it after this. Here's Happ to Hairston. Hairston up the middle. Larry has it. Over to Lee. And that's another out. And that's the end of the inning. So after 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. After 1 inning, the New York Mets lead the Houston Astros 1-0. Houston at bat. Here's Jose Altuve. Yeah, I didn't recognize him at all. Infield in. And Altuve up to the nice play by David Wright, who had come in short there. So 1 away, Altuve out there. Hit it down the line to David Wright. Wright picked it up with a nice easy throw over to Ike Davis. Here's Jed Lowry, another name that's familiar but I don't know much about. Nice goes into his windup, 2-2 to count. Lowry laces one down to third. Wright picks it up right across the diamond, and that is 2 away. David Wright, according to Action PC, has a 9. At third, at shortstop is Ruben Tejada. At second base, yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is Justin Turner. At first base is Ike Davis. I'm sure Ike Davis was a Baltimore Oriole. At catcher is Josh. Is that Josh Hole? Josh Thole. At right field is Scott Hairston. Center field, Andres Torres. Left field, Kirk Neuenhuis. Not names I remember. Not names I remember. David Wright, I do. Here's J.D. Martinez, and Martinez hits it high. Torres has it, and that's 2 away. J.D. Martinez would go on to become an excellent hitter for the Boston Red Sox. Here's Ike Davis at the plate. Happ, 1 to count. Davis lines it up to center field, and that's 1 away. So what I'm going to do is zoom this, although my zoom hasn't been working lately. Zoom to the 8th inning. You see that clue? It doesn't zoom. What have I done wrong here, Clue? When I do zoom, which should zoom it, maybe that's what it is. Zoom options. Aha, that might be what it was. Let's try that again. Zoom towards the 8th inning. It doesn't zoom it, Clue. Yeah, Matt Harvey. Look at Matt Harvey and Zach Wheeler. Wow. Why is my two? My zoom is just not working. Oh, I see. This is how it's working, is it? Oh, because I've got spectator mode in. Right. Okay, so the ninth inning is 3-3 here. Here we go. And this is Fernando Rodriguez. That's not K-Rod, is it? On the mound. And brings up Josh Hole. I'll just finish it off. Zoom to the end of the game. And who won? The Mets win 5-3. So abysmal, as I'd expect from Houston. This must have been such a depressing season. Because even I'm depressed looking at their roster. Jeez. It's shocking. So now we just play out the first month. Play through March 29th, and let's just see what happens. Play March. All requested games have been played. Is that right? So I just go to here, just see what's what. Did it play out all the games? No, it did not. Go back a step. And press Play May. Here we go. It is K-Rod. Wow. It doesn't look that good. So starting off the league already, looking at the leaders so far, some names I do remember and some names I just don't know. Who the hell is Sean Rodriguez? I know who Joey Votto is and Ryan Braun and Alex Gordon and Dexter Fowler and Starlin Castro and Matt Joyce, Pujols. This must have been a very bleak time in baseball. But looking at the pitchers, I definitely recognize all of those guys. Gio Gonzalez, I recognize. Houston's got a good start from Wandy Rodriguez. Whatever happened to Ivan Nova? Wasn't he supposed to be a good pitcher? I used to watch these broadcasts for MLB briefly, because like I said, I wasn't really following baseball at the time. And I remember hearing about Ivan Nova. He was supposed to be awesome. And Phil Hughes. The Reds are 9-0. Yeah, I do remember Houston being deliberately bad. Is it Jeff? I remember listening to a podcast with this guy, Jeff Lerner, is it? What's happened to him anyway, that GM that tanked? But you have to say, even with tanking, would it be fair to say it worked? That they trusted their process and it worked? Because look at them now. They've been in, they've won 2 World Series at least in the last 5 years. Poor Marlins fans. Well, they're looking good so far from what I caught. Look, 15-0 clue. Look, they just lost, as I said it. 15-0. They're at the Yankees at the moment. They've lost the second one in a row. Nova over Homer Bailey. They've lost 3 in a row now to the Yankees. So Cross League doesn't seem to be helping them. Really? So he's never going to come back into baseball. That's a shame. But the manager's back in baseball. The players are back in baseball. And does the press, the baseball, press consider that cheating in 2017 after all? Because, as I've said, I think cheating's part of baseball, is it not? It's only cheating if you get caught. But now they've proven that they are a great team, regardless of whether they had, banging drums and all of that stuff. Look at Cincinnati off to an 18-5 start. The Tigers are off to a great start, but this would have been the era of Miguel Cabrera. Boston, the East is looking really bad. Cincinnati, 20-5. Really? Oh, but A-Rod's a really interesting character because doesn't A-Rod work for the MLB? Because when the MLB did a game over here last summer, it was A-Rod that came over. He was on all the news channels with his teeth. His big old shiny teeth. I actually kind of like him. I don't know why. Just because it's like he's got this front of, I know I cheated, but, still love me, please, And he seems to get away with it, So, I don't know why. It's weird. So Big Clue says, Luno created a great organization, but the owner is slowly retarding it. You saw how he hampered James Click. Jays was smart enough to hire Click right away when Houston Justices him. Wow. The thing is, though, Houston have got the trophies, haven't they? They've got the silverware, so to speak. Look at this, though, Clue, with my managing the Houston, 14-14. Just by tinkering with the lineup ever so slowly, though, because there's not much to tinker with, to be honest. But that's a good start to Houston, considering they went 55 and God knows what else. Highlights so far. Well, I'm going to get highlights. Let's just look at the league, shall we? So here's the league so far. This is 2012. I'm doing a little experiment with Houston to see if I can get the AI to manage them appropriately. Not going as well as I was. Going much better than I thought, yeah. But the NA stuff, I'm not sure what the hell's going on there. The pitching rotation, Rodriguez and Happ, Harold, Kutchel, and Lyles. If I go to pitchers and real stats, off real stats and replay stats, let's have a look. Wandy Rodriguez, Clue, is 3-0. He's supposed to be good, right? The guy that I put as a closer, not doing too badly, Brett Myers. And the guy I'm looking for is Wilton Lopez, the other closer. Bullpen. Wilton Lopez, that's the guy. Not doing badly, but he's not doing anything great. But these are respectable, right? Rotation. Wandy Rodriguez is having a great start to the season. Happ, where's Happ? Happ is 2-1. Where's Dallas Keuchel? Dallas Keuchel is... His stats are not showing up. Why? Interesting. Lyles. He says, I guess he's ineligible, I guess. Need to figure out, Steve, what that is. Anyway, off to a decent start. So I'm not going to change anything other than understand why Dallas Keuchel is not getting to be pitched. I will ask the computer to regenerate. Nothing changes. Interesting. Press OK. Let's do it again. So let's go again. We're doing better than we thought. Boston are 17-12. Detroit off to a good start. And the batting leaders for the league so far, Melky Cabrera. Now, wasn't Melky Cabrera accused of drugs? What do you call it? Oh my God. Enhanced drugs. What do you call it? Performance enhancing drugs. There you go. The Big Papi is off to a good start. 9 home runs. Wow. But Phillips, which Phillips? Brandon Phillips, I didn't know he was a slugger. He's off to a fantastic start with home runs. My Carlos Lee is doing very well. Thank you, Carlos. Interesting. I prefer out of the park, obviously, because I'm more used to the screens for replay. But it's still interesting to see this for me. Because I wasn't following baseball at the time. Play April. Okay, here we go. So let's see if the Cincinnati Reds can continue their hot start. They are 21-8. Houston, let's see if they can stay above 500. Let's see as we go along. The worst team in baseball in this season so far are the Beatles won't like this one, will he, Clue? The Pittsburgh Pirates, 9-20. What were they doing? But wasn't this also the same time they were just about to start to improve. Yeah, his Mudville team, I can see that for sure. His Mudville team's shocking. So April, tell me if this is going true to life at the moment, Clue, from your memory. The Reds definitely, with Joey Votto, definitely, and Jay Bruce, I remember them being quite strong. But they're off to a great start. Early season favourites, maybe? Early season favourites. Who actually won in 2012? Wasn't it the San Francisco Giants? I could be wrong. With my limited knowledge of baseball. It's interesting. Washington 19-13. Philly 19-14. Interesting. Houston still hanging in at 500. So my roster changes, although they were slight, and the preferences were slight. That seems to have made a slight difference. So are you all set for Tuesday, Big Clue? I'll give you another number. 1942. I'm thinking Cardinals. I'm thinking Joe DiMaggio. I'm thinking Hank Greenberg. But do you want to use your Hall of Fame pick so early? That's the trick. In 1942, one of the Coopers stood out from the top of my memory. One of the Cooper boys stood out. So I'm not sure which one it was. Oh, play April. Play April. I don't know why this is such a boring era of baseball for me. I just did not like it. It was just an era where I just lost interest in it. Yet, little did I know, the next exciting era of baseball was around the corner. You know, with Houston in particular, and then San Francisco doing 3 World Series victories in, 6 years? And they nearly had another one in 8 years. You know, it was the odd year of winning, wasn't it? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, I'll continue with this. It's just an experiment to see, will the AI, with my little tweaks, make Houston Astros better or win at least more than 55 games in 2012. You know, it was a terrible season for them. So far, so good. Here we go again. Finishing up April. The Reds lead the St. Louis Cardinals in the Central. Philadelphia and Washington are tied, and also Miami. In fact, the tightest division is the East. Let's see, the West, not so tight. Very interesting. See, this is where I love Out of the Park as well, because I could jump in. You can do it here as well, but I just love the graphics. I love the graphics on here too, because Steve Tate's done an awesome job with the photos, the player pictures, the walk-up music. You know, sometimes I think I want to play Out of the Park, but then I want to play actions instead. Then I fire up action and I want to play Out of the Park. They're just so good, such great games. Credit where credit is due for Dave Koch, though. He really has hung in with this game, and it's made it so popular. I wonder what the sales statistics are for Action PC baseball versus the baseball of, say, or the game sales of Stratomatic or Appa. That'll be interesting. Houston's still hanging in there. So they're overperforming without a shadow of doubt. And maybe my pitch around strategy, see, is working to 18 and 18. Let's carry on. Carry on. Let's carry on. I might do another game, actually. What I'll do now is switch, actually, to Out of the Park. Let's see if I have a funny feeling it'll just play a little better, certainly from an excitement point of view. I'll be able to jump into the games a little easier with that one. I'm more familiar with the setup of that one. So we come away from that and let's look at the league. Since 2012, the update is the batting leader is Melky Cabrera, but who the hell is Andy Dirks from Detroit? Andy Dirks. Where's Clue when I need him? Andy Dirks. Played with Detroit 2011-12. 30 was a Gold Glover. Didn't have a long career, from the looks of it. Andy Dirks, but interesting. Because he's tearing it up at the moment. David Ortiz is batting .367 with 12 home runs. And there's some players I definitely recognize home runs wise. Soriano, who should never have left the Yankees. Ortiz. Phillips has done very well. Wander Rodriguez is... See, that's interesting, isn't it? Wander Rodriguez is still pitching exceptionally well. Wow. Homer Bailey is 6 and... Homer Bailey is... What's his win-loss? Where's his win-loss? Homer Bailey's win-loss, I can't see it on here. Yes, it's 6-1. ERA is a bit suspect. But that's really interesting. Now the names are getting more familiar. Bronson Arroyo. King Felix Hernandez. Wow. Best team in baseball at the moment? They all seem to have caught up, but it's still the Cincinnati Reds. With Johnny Cueto. This is good. The lineup at the moment, in terms of averages, Ryan Hannigan, good player. Brandon Phillips. Scott Rowland is not even playing. So what I'll do here, I'll save this because I want to come back to that. And I'll shut down. So this has become a project now because Houston are actually playing pretty well compared to where they should be. It's Pittsburgh that are looking absolutely terrible. There's one of Beatles' favourite players. Look at Steve Tate's card there, Andrew McCutcheon. So what I'll do now, I'll come off of that and go into the other game, which is Out of the Park Baseball. And I'm going to go into 2012 and call a game from there too. So Out of the Park 24. Still looking at 2012 season. Press continue. Show modes. Historical exhibition. Here we go. We won 2012. We want Houston, and we want to play them against a similar type of team. Houston were really, really bad. How about them Cubbies? The Cubs and the Astros. We're going to put DH on because I like the DH on. Why waste it? Why waste it, DH? This is what I do when I'm doing exhibitions. I do this, click it from this screen, press OK, but then I immediately ask the AI, but then I return to the OOTP main screen. Then I go into load game, and there it is, exhibitionally, press OK. This allows me to still play the exhibitions, but it does allow me to mess around with the uniforms, which you can't do in exhibition for some strange reason. Modify colors and uniforms. I do like that, but I don't like the number. And this is the Cubbies. Take away the number. Now then, that's that. Press OK. Oops, that's home. That's away. Same with the Houston Astros. That's right. Take away the number, take away the name. Home. Take away the number, take away the name. Cubs. Take away the number, take away the name. Good, we're set. Press OK. Here we go. So we're playing a game versus the Astros. Before I do that, let's look at the Astros themselves. Meet the team. Bardot, Jet Larry, Jordy Lyles. Here's Jose Altuve. Now I should be able to give him some high socks. Interesting. Where is it? Aha. Wear high socks? Yes, I do want him. His bat color, let's go black tan. Shoe color, let's go team color. Good stuff, I do like that. Team home screen. Jed Lowry, I'm beginning to know who he is now. JD Martinez is going to wear some high socks as well. We want him to wear high socks. We want him to have a black tan bat. And it's because shoe color is going to be red, because I like red. Okay, already this just feels a little different to playing the other game. Interesting, the rotation is slightly different. Wilton Lopez is there, but Wander Rodriguez is not. So go to the organization, reserve roster, because it's a... So that's interesting, because where is the guy that was doing very well in action? Maybe because we've got end of season rosters on, maybe? No, there is. I can see Wilton Lopez, but I can't see the other guy. Interesting. We're all good. Let's go to the Cubs. See if there's anybody in there that needs a sock increase. So there's some guys who I do remember really well. Jeff Somanja, I remember watching play for Notre Dame as a tight end, a very good tight end as well. Travis Wood, I do recognize as an ex-Milwaukee, played for Milwaukee. I heard the name Matt Garza. I know who Starlin Castro was. So Castro and Rizzo, from my knowledge, were part of the youth movement that later became champions. Alfonso Siriano was a veteran by this stage, okay? See, that's where I go back to my baseball knowledge, back to the early 2002, when he was more or less a rookie. Okay, I think we're good to go. Just press no thanks there. And I'll definitely call this game. So this is me with the 2012 Astros, who I started off on Action PC, and I've got them to a 15-15 record in a season where they lost 55 games. So they're off to a good start in action. This is an exhibition game. Look at that Wrigley Field, unbelievable. It just looks absolutely dynamite. So on the pitch now, so here we go. This is the Chicago Cubs hosting the hapless Houston Astros from 2012. Behind the plate is Wellington Castillo. First base is Anthony Rizzo. Second base is Darwin Barney. At short, Starlin Castro. At third, Louis Valbuena. At left field, the veteran Alfonso Soriano. At center field, Dave Sapelt. And at right field, David De Jesus. On the mound is Matt Garza. So here we go. At the plate is Jose Altuve. Love this pan start. Altuve hits us to right field, and straight away De Jesus has it, and that is a base hit for Altuve. So Altuve at first, been held tightly by Rizzo. That brings up J.B. Shook. Decent contact hitter. Garza into his wind-up, struck him out. So struck out Shook at a 2-2 count. That brings up Jed Lowry. Lowry batting from the left-hand side. Matt Garza went 5-7 in that season. In the wind-up, 1-1 the count. Straight to second, and that's to short, back to first. Double play. So a nice double play initiated by Barney and Castro to Rizzo. So the Cubs, up at the bottom of the first inning, leading off will be Starlin Castro. Behind the plate is another Castro. Not Fidel, it's Jason Castro. At first base is Matt Downs. At second base is Jose Altuve. At shortstop is Jed Lowry. At third base, Matt Dominguez. At left field, or in left field, is J.D. Martinez. In center field is Justin Maxwell. And in right field, Scott Moore. Don't know much about these Astros. Here's Lucas Harrell going into his motion. 1-2 to count. Castro hits it to third. Nicely picked up there by Dominguez. Dominguez throws it over to first, one away. That brings up David De Jesus. Harrell goes his motion, 3-1 to count. And he lost him. So De Jesus gets a walk. He's got a good eye. That brings up Brian LaHair. LaHair has some decent power. I've got a good eye. Harrell goes into his motion, 1-1, and that's hit straight down to first. They try to get the runner at second, but to get the runner at first. So Downs with a good play, stepped on the back, threw it over to second, but De Jesus is safe. That brings up the powerful Alfonso Soriano. Harrell looks in, Castro sets the signs. Castro waits. On 1 to count, and that's hit to right field, and a base hit. The runner might score. Here comes the runner. 1-0 Cubs. So Soriano drives in a run. That brings up Anthony Rizzo. The Cubs have a high ceiling for him. 2-1 to count, and Rizzo hits this a short. Nicely picked up by Lowry, and the Cubs have got in front 1-0. That brings up Scott Moore to lead up to second for the Houston Astros. Garza goes into his windup, 2-2 to count. Struck him out. So Garza with 2 strikeouts. Brings up center fielder Justin Maxwell. 1-1 to count from Garza. And Maxwell hits it to right field. base hit. He may get a double. No, he comes back. So that one hit straight to De Jesus out in right field. Let's have a look at De Jesus and look at his real life stats. So he played up until 2015. Nice. This is just something that Out of the Park does better than actually see the career stats by season much quicker. So that brings up Jason Castro. Here's Garza now on the mound. Top of the second inning, 1 out. And that's a throw from the catcher. Safe. So Maxwell gets to second base. So the Astros trying to get things going here. Jason Castro at the plate. The score is 1-0 Chicago. 1 out here in the top of the second inning. Garza leans in, gets his sign from Castillo. Here comes the pitch, 3-2 to count. Hit into right field, base hit. So De Jesus has it. The runner will score, and the ball game is tied. So Castro drives in a run there. And that brings up Dominguez. Mac Dominguez, the third baseman, batting from the right-hand side. Decent power, but will strike out. Garza goes into his windup, 3-1 to count. And he loses him. So Matt Garza here, looking in, and at the plate is Matt Downs. Castillo puts a sign down. And that's hit to short. Castro has it, and the runner out. So that's the end of the inning. No, it's not. 2 out. That brings up J.D. Martinez. J.D. at 25 years old. In that season, or this season, hit 11 home runs. He was yet to become the J.D. Martinez that he did become. Here's his real life stats. His home run totals have dropped off a little bit. He has hit 282 home runs. No chance he'll get to 500. So here we go. Here comes the pitch. Martinez strikes out, and it's 1-1. So we go to the top of the bottom of the second inning, leading off is Wellington Castillo. Castillo hits a line drive out to left center field. Martinez after it, can't get it. Maxwell comes up with a double for Wellington Castillo. So nice catch, nice hit there from Castillo. And that brings up Luis Valbuena, third baseman. Lucas Harrell, good movement on his pitches. And that's hit to first. Nicely taken away there by Downs. 1 away. Castillo will go to third. So Cubs threatening here in Chicago. Nighttime here in Chicago. At Wrigley Field. Cloudy night. The wind blowing from left to right at 9 miles per hour. Harrell looks in, Sapelt waits. Bottom of the second inning, 1 out. Man on third. Score tied at 1. And that's a line drive to left field. Martinez picks it up, throws it in, and another base hit and another run. So let me turn that volume down. Help if I press the right key, wouldn't it? Turn that volume just a little bit down. In fact, leave it as it is. It's not there that you did it from. Go to game action, go to options, go to game options, turn the sound down just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we are. So Harrell on the mound. Here comes Barney. Darwin Barney at the plate. Barney hits it straight to short. Lowry across to Altuve. Altuve across to Downs. So Houston get away with it there. But Chicago only get one run. So the score is at the top of the third inning. Houston trailing 2-1. That brings up Jose Altuve. Garza inches one at 3-2 to count. Altuve will take a walk. So Altuve does what he's supposed to as a leadoff hitter. He's on first. That brings up Shook. Oh, 1 to count. Shook chips it, and Garza has it. Strange shot there. A little excuse me shot. And that's one away. Brings up Jed Lowry. Let's have a look at Lowry, shall we? Jed Lowry is still playing to this day. He's 38 years old. In 2012, he was 28. A decent player, actually. In 2017 and 2018, Lowry played well enough. He had 99 RBIs in 2018. Then came the 2019, so he must have been injured. And then had COVID season. Well, unlucky. So Jed Lowry does have a good player. Garza, 1-2 count. And Lowry hits us to right field. Easy take for De Jesus. That's 2 away. Top of the third inning now. We have Scott Moore coming in here for the 2012 Houston Astros. I started the evening on action, just trying to get them to be better than 55 wins. And this is an exhibition out of the park, so I can get to know the players better. Garza goes into his windup, first pitch, and a check swing, throw down to second, and safe. Altuve still second base. So now we come back to Scott Moore. Garza trying to defend a 2-1 lead, top of the third, 2 men out, 1 man on second. Garza looks over to Altuve. Goes into his one at 1-2 to count. A little excuse me there from Scott Moore. Doesn't make contact. Trying to hold back. And that's the end of the inning. So this is the 2012 Cubs. Some of the guys I recognize as Rizzo was in the team at the time. And I can remember Soriano, the veteran. And I can also remember Castillo. So here we go. Top of the third inning. Starlin Castro, who was seen as a star, rising star in Chicago at the time. He's at the plate. Good contact hitter. Harrell goes into his windup. 1-0 to count. Line drive down to left field. J.D. Martinez picks it up and throws it back in. So base hit for Starlin Castro. That brings to the plate David De Jesus. Lefty hitter. Hasn't hit anything all day. Here we go. Pitch and snap throw to first. Nice try there by Castro to catch Starlin Castro off base. Castro got back in. So Castro to Castro. Harrell looks in. Castro gets into his crouch. Puts a sign down. 2-2 to count. And a little drive there. Altuve has it to Lowry. They get the runner at second. But the runner will go to first base. So De Jesus is on first. That brings up Brian LaHare. Never heard of Brian LaHare in my life. But he has got good power and good eye. And Brian LaHare waits. Howard looks in. 1 man on, 1 man out. Bottom of the third inning. Cubs lead 2-1. And he lost him. So the Cubs have 2 men on now. Try to extend their lead in this night game at Wrigley Field. Nicely rendered here by Silvam. So Lucas Harrell, trying to stem any more runs or any more base runners, up against the powerful Alfonso Soriano, a man I loved at the New York New York Yankees. Because Soriano at age 38, 39 has got power. Here comes the pitch. And Soriano lifts it to center field. It should be an easy take there for Maxwell. Maxwell has it and throws it back in. So the runner's at first, runner at second. That brings up Anthony Rizzo. The Cubs have high hopes for Rizzo. Coming in from the left-hand side. Rizzo is only 23 years old. High hopes for him at first. part of a youth movement in Chicago. So here comes Harold now. Just holds on to the ball a bit longer. Castro puts the sign down. 2-2 to count. And Rizzo lifts it to left center field, but nicely taken by Sapelt. End of the inning. The Cubs still lead 2-1. Top of the fourth inning now, led off by Justin Maxwell. Another one of these no-names from Chicago, from Houston. Welcome in if you've just joined us. And a strikeout for Matt Garza. Matt Garza went 5-7 in 2012. And that brings up Jason Castro. Castro coming in for the left-hand side, batting .257, 6 home run with 29 RBIs in 2012. Garza into his windup. That's hit down to Rizzo. Rizzo will flip it to Garza, and that's 2 away. Brings up third baseman Matt Dominguez. Dominguez has got some power. He walked in the second inning. Garza looks in. Castillo puts a sign down. Top of the fourth inning here. 2-1 Cubbies lead. 1-0 to count from Garza. And that's hit to center field by Dominguez, but easily taken in there by the center fielder. I said Sapelt earlier. That is Sapelt who caught it earlier. When I meant who caught it just now, I meant Maxwell in the Houston innings. At the plate is Wellington Castillo, down to center field, the catcher. Harold looks in. Bottom of the fourth inning, Cubs lead 2-1. 1-2 to count. And line drive down the center by Wellington Castillo. So Castillo gets on first base. Lucas Harrell gives up another hit. He's given up 5 hits so far. Brings up Luis Valbuena, third baseman. Luis Valbuena gets on base quite a bit with walking. He should get on base. Not good with contact. Harrell looks in and strikes him out. So that's the first out of the inning. That brings up Dave Sapelt. Coming in for the right-hand side, Dave batted .275 in 2012. 1 man on first. 1 man out, or 1 out. Bottom of the fourth, Cubbies trying to add to their 2-1 lead. And that is hit to center field. Maxwell drifts over and will make the play. So that's 2 out now for the Cubs. That brings up Darwin Barney. Darwin Barney coming in from the right-hand side. Not much power. Not much of an eye. In fact, not much of anything. What did Darwin Barney do in his career? Not too sure, but he seemed to go up until 2017 before he left the league. So not anything stalwart there. Harold looks in. Barney waits. And Barney hits this to right field. Nice hit there by Barney. And Moore will pick it up in right field and throw it back in. Castillo takes second. Darwin Barney gets a base hit. He's on first. That brings up Starling Castro. Great speed Castro has. He waits for the pitch. 3-1 to count, and Castro will get a walk. So Castro goes to first. Runners on every base. Bases loaded. So that brings up David De Jesus, who's got a great eye. 0 for 1 today. Harold waits for the sign from Castro. Here comes the pitch. Struck him out. So Harold gets out of the jam. And the Cubs are still leading 2-1. So Houston hanging in there. And I don't know what I just pressed there. Houston's still hanging in there. And that brings up Matt Downs, the first baseman, coming in from the right-hand side. Good power. Here we are. Garza looks in. Top of the 5th inning. Goes into his windup. 2-2 to count. Struck him out. 6 strikeouts now for Matt Garza. That brings up J.D. Martinez in the black high socks and the red shoes. Personally dressed by MV. So here we go. Martinez steps in. Garza looks at him. Castillo goes into his crouch. Puts a sign down. Nobody on here. 1 out. Top of the 5th inning. Garza goes into his 3-1 to count, and he loses Martinez. So Martinez, who would go on to become a decent slugger, a very good slugger, in his time. He may get to 500 home runs, but he'll be age 40 when he gets there. I don't think he's going to make it. That brings up Jose Altuve, a man who would go on to become a superstar in Houston. He was in the team way back in 2012. Become a stalwart at Houston. Here we go. Garza goes into his windup. One man on. Cubs lead 2-1. Full count. And he loses Altuve. So Martinez and Altuve both walk. And now we have Shook coming up to bat. J.B. Shook. If I'm pronouncing that name right, let me know. So Shook coming in from the left-hand side is 0 for 2 today. Garza will now go into his windup, 2 men on. Full count to Shook. And Shook strikes out. So Mike Garza mowing them down today. He's got 7 strikeouts. That now brings up Jed Larry, a serviceable player. Jed Larry will go on to play with the Oakland A's. Coming in from the left-hand side. Garza waits. Top of the 5th inning. Showing signs of fatigue, though, Matt Garza. Looking down at his stamina button. Here he comes, 2-2 to count. And that's hit to left field. But that should be a relatively easy take for the veteran Soriano. So the Cubs still lead 2-1. The Astros got 2 base runners there, but could not capitalize. That brings up the bottom of the 5th inning now. At Wrigley, Brian LaHair will coming at DH. We are DHing. He has got some power. Here comes the pitch, full count, and LaHair hits it to Altuve. Altuve gets it across to first, and they get the man down to the plate, just scooped it, stretched and scooped. 1 away. Coming to the plate now from the right-hand side is Alfonso Soriano. The power hitter is 1 for 2 today with an RBI. Here we go. In 2012, he hit 24 home runs from the right-hand side against righties. Here comes Harrell. 2-1 to count now for Harrell. And Soriano hits us to right field. And a nice play over in right field there by Moore. Right up against the wall, he makes the catch. While he was there, he got a hot dog. Nice play. That brings up Anthony Rizzo coming in from the left-hand side. Young man who's destined for greatness in Chicago. And possibly greater in the future. Harrell's still hanging in there. Lucas Harrell, just 27 years old. This is his breakthrough season. He was 11-11 in that season. Had 140 strikeouts with a 3.76 ERA. Here comes the pitch and hit to left field, but Martinez loafed on the pitch, on the ball, and I felt he could have got that, but it falls in for a single. So J.D. Martinez, I don't think he played that ball well at all. So that brings up Wellington Castillo at the plate. Rizzo at first, 2 men out, bottom of the 5th inning. Cubbies trying to pad onto that 2-1 lead. No activity in the Houston bullpen. Here we go. Harrell goes into his windup, 1-2 to count, and he strikes him out when he needed to. So good performance here from Lucas Harrell for Houston. The score is 2-1. And go to the top of the 6th inning. The change has been made by the Cubs, bringing in Blake Parker. Blake Parker only had 1 season with Chicago, and he drifted off into God knows where. In fact, it looked like he was at Philly. Here we are. Blake Parker now finishes his warm-up pitches. Coming in from the left-hand side is right fielder Scott Moore. Score is still 1-2, or 2-1 Chicago. And that one's hit to left field, but Soriano has it, gloves it, 1 away. So Soriano in left field quite happily took that. That defense there with Dave Sapelt in center field. Right field is De Jesus, who's the best of the outfielders. Soriano is a standard 50. Haven't heard from much from Valbuena at third. Here we go. Parker goes into his windup. And he loses the batter. So Blake Parker walks Brian Bukasevich, who has come in as a pinch hitter. And that brings up Castro. Jason Castro, batting from the left-hand side. Good, decent player, one of the better players on the Houston Astros, who only won 55 games in 2012. Parker goes into his windup on 1 to count, loses his man, but that's gone straight down to the catcher, who throws it. Castro throws his man out. So the runner thrown out there. So Castro did a great. So I said Castro. There's so many Castros. Castillo got his man. Wellington Castillo. Where is Wellington Castillo these days? He's retired. So Parker now, 2 out, top of the 6th inning, trying to defend the lead. Can they keep the Astros at bay? Here's Julian Castro. Hit 1 hit so far with 1 RBI. Here comes the pitch, full count, and that's hit to right field. But nicely taken there at right field there. Hardly had to move. Slick play by De Jesus. And that is the end of the inning. So Harrell being kept out there. Lucas Harrell. Let's have a look at that bullpen. In the Houston bullpen, they could bring in any number of pitchers, but he seemed to want to keep him. They've got Ambris, Cedeno, De Rosario, Rodriguez, Fernando Rodriguez Jr., quite a Latin flavor to their bullpen. But Harrell staying out there. That says it might be a mistake. He's pitched well so far. He's pitched 5 innings, given up 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Here we go. Valbuena coming in from the left-hand side. Full count. And Harrell loses him. So that's the 4th walk of the game for Harrell. He's hanging in there. He's pitched well. But now there's a man on first. Valbuena on first. In fact, now we see the signal from the bullpen. Fernando Rodriguez Jr., 6'3", reliever, comes in. Not the best in 2012. He's got a high fast. He's got a hard fastball. That brings up Dave Sapelt. And Sapelt bunts it down to third, and a quick pickup by Dominguez gets the runner out at first. Good play by Dominguez at third base there, Matt Dominguez. Valbuena does go to second. 1 out, man on second, bottom of the 6th inning. Cubs lead 2-1 here at Wrigley. That brings Darwin Barney at the plate. Here comes the pitch. And Barney strikes out. Good play here by Fernando Rodriguez. Now trying to mow them down and get out of the inning. 2 men out. Cubbies still trying to pad this lead. Houston still hanging on to their coattails. Fernando Rodriguez. Good stuff he's got. Some great stuff, actually. And there's Castro at the plate. Starling Castro. Waits. Castro. So many Castros. Behind the plate. Crouches. Rodriguez goes into his windup. 2-2 to count. Struck him out. So the score is unchanged. 2-1 Cubs. 1 walk in that inning. So some good stuff by Rodriguez. And now that brings up Matt Dominguez from the right-hand side. He's 0 for 1 today. Made a great play in the last inning at third. And now the Cubbies bring in Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp, a veteran minor leaguer, who is coming today to make this last couple of innings safe for Chicago. It's still very tight. It went 3-6 in 2012. Hey, Big Clue, and hey, everyone else that might be in here. Playing the same 2 teams, Big Clue, or same team, Houston, 2012, in an exhibition game in 2012 against the equally hapless Chicago Cubbies. So his Camp goes into his windup, 2-1 to count, and that's hit to right field, but a nice, easy catch by De Jesus takes it away from the hitter. 1 out. That brings up Matt Downs. A lot of these unrecognizable players. So Big Clue asks, is there any way in OTTB to replace these generic picks of players? Yes, there is. There is, Big Clue. Beatles showed it on his channel the other day. I think it was yesterday, actually. If you go back 2 days, Beatles show. I can show you as well. I just don't remember. It's quite easy, but I can't remember how to do it. It's been a long time, so I use it. I use the OTTP ones, but it should be straightforward. I'm having the hiccups all of a sudden. Here's Camp now. Score. 2-1 Cubbies. Top of the 7th inning. Tight ball game. And that one's hit to center field. Should be an easy take for Sapelt. Sapelt has it. 2 away. Brings up big hitting J.D. Martinez. J.D. Martinez, against right-handers in 2012, had hit 8 home runs. He has got power, but not the power we later saw in his career. Right now, he is only 25 years old. Count goes into his 1-2 to count, and Martinez got squeezed and jammed there. Hits it down to Rizzo. Rizzo jumps to his base, and that is the end of the inning. Beatles. Yeah, I can show you. I can show you if I can remember. I've been playing this game for 20 years, man. I didn't hear take me up to the ball game. Strange. And the mound now is Javier Cedeno. Another one of these, in my opinion, almost unrecognizable pitchers. I don't know anybody. The lefty comes in to face the lefty David DeJesus. David DeJesus is 0 for 2 today. So Cedeno looks in. Hits the pitch and hits straight to Larry. Larry over to first baseman Downs, and that is 1 away. So Jen Rowley there with a bullet throw. So that brings up Brian LaHare, a guy who did not make it in that Chicago Revolution as far as I'm aware. Lefty, so the smart move by Houston's manager, they're bringing a lefty to face the lefties. 0 for 2 now is LaHare. LaHare gets on though, walking to first. Hey, Legends, how you doing? Just so you know what I was doing earlier on today, I was doing, or just now, in the last hour, I was trying to get the 2012 Houston Astros to beat 55 wins using manager AI only in a simulation. So they're off to a great start, 15-15. But up to a pause from that, just went straight into an exhibition game in 2012 with the 2 most hapless teams in 2012, the Houston Astros and the Chicago Cubs. Well, here we are, tight ball game. So now another pitching change now to face a slugging Soriano. I anticipated that. So here comes Wesley Wright out of the bullpen, the third man out of the bullpen, to face the veteran Alfonso Soriano. Late 2010 franchise, I would say the Cubs. The Cubs should have been a dynasty, no problem at all. I think the Dodgers have done well. I think they've been unlucky. But the Cubs, with Chris Bryant and Baez and Schwarber and just these awesome players, maybe pitching might have not always been consistent, but they really let everybody down. I feel so. Anyway, that brings up Wesley Wright now. Soriano at the plate. He's 3 for 1 today with an RBI. A man with great power. Should never have left the Yankees. Here we go. 3-2 to count. And Wright picks up a K. So Wright strikes out Alfonso Soriano. Here's Anthony Rizzo, a man that would go on to greatness or semi-greatness with the Cubs in just a few years. The score is 2-1 Cubs. Bottom of the 7th. 2 men out, 1 man on. Rizzo, can he take one out of here? But he's up against the lefty, Wright. Wright goes into his motion. 3-2 to count. And that's hit to right field, base hit. Man will come round to third and stay. Actually, that looks like a run scored. No, it wasn't. LaHare stopped at third. Rizzo at first. So Lahire didn't have the wheels to go all the way around. That was hit to right field, where it was a bit of a slow pickup for Moore. So now the Cubs threatening with man on third. Here we go, Castillo, Wellington Castillo, the catcher, at the plate. And Castillo hits this, it could be a base hit. So a run comes home for Chicago. The Cubs extend their lead 3-1. So Wesley Wright getting touched up there. So now the Cubs lead 2-1 over Houston. That brings up Luis Valbuena. And Valbuena hits this to left center field, base hit. A run will score, possibly 2. And the Cubs lead 4-1. So Valbuena came through there. Castillo stayed at third. And that brings up Dave Sapelt against Wright. So Wright blowing it here. He's giving up 3 hits. Sapelt waits, steps out of the box, comes back in. So Cubs lead 4-1. And the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 men out, man on second, man on third. Wright trying to close down the inning. And that one's hit straight out of here. Touch 'em all. Dave Sapelt has just hit a 2-run home run. 3-run home run. 7-1. The ball game is blown wide open. Let's have a look at that again. So Beatles did this the other day. I'm a bit rusty. Here's the replay of that fantastic home run. Boom! Oh. A great smashed home run. That was a superb home run. So now Brown brings up another player from the Houston bullpen. And they've really let down the starters today. Harrell played so well. That brings up Enrico Del Rosario. He's got great movement on his pitches. And at the plate is Darwin Barney. 1-1 the count. And Barney hits this to center field. He'll have a base hit to right fielder. Picks it up. That is Moore. And that is a demoralizing look on Altuve's face as he collects the ball in the infield. Here comes Starling Castro. Barney on first. And that one smashed to center field. But Moore, well, not Moore this time, he waves it off. It's caught by Bogusevic out there in center field. Wow. So Sapelt hit a big home run in the last inning. And that brings up Sean Kemp, who should be able to take it all the way here. Top of the 8th inning, here's Jose Altuve. 3-2 to count. Altuve lifts this to center field. Nice, silky run to the ball by the center fielder Sapelt. 1 away. It's a big clue. Asks which one was more disappointing, the Dodgers or the Cubs in the 2010. My money is on the Cubs. I think they were blown up way too early. Here's Shook. At the plate, coming in from the left-hand side. He's 0 for 3 today. And that's a lifted. He might get his first base hit. He does. Soriano comes in on it. And that's a base hit for Shook. That brings up the veteran, or soon-to-be veteran, Jet Lowry. So a man on here, long climb up the hill for Houston. And that's hit straight to short. Castro has it. And throws it to second. Nice pickup by Barney. 2 away. So Lowry on first. At the plate, Scott Moore. Not many changes here for Houston. And that one's hit. This one could go. No. It stays in the park. And that's a nice catch by Sapelt. So at the end of the inning, No runs, one hit, no errors, a man left on. The Cubs remain out in front 7-1. Brings up to the plate David De Jesus. Enario De Rosario looks in at De Jesus. And De Jesus hits this to center field, a nice smash, base hit, and Bogusevich picks it up. So a nice base hit for David De Jesus. He gets his first hit of the ball game. Brings up Brian Leher, who is 0 for 2 today. Big power in him. He's a guy that he's a bit of a spray hitter. A pull hitter, sorry. Rosario with the pitch, and he struck him out. Good job framing that pitch by Castro behind the plate. Brings up the power hitting Alfonso Soriano. 1 for 4 today. De Rosario goes into his windup. First pitch, and that's hit by Soriano straight to Altuve. Altuve to Lowry, and that is over to first. And that's it. No runs, one hit. No errors, nobody left on, no change in the score. The Cubs still up 7-1. It's amazing what happened with the Cubs and the Astros. Here they are in 2012, just looking so bad. You know, the question is tanking worth it? Do you alienate your fan base for about 5 years and string them along on a promise that they're going to become great? For what, maybe 1 or 2 years, then go back to mediocrity? Is it worth it? I suppose it is. In Chicago's case, I don't think they kind of tanked a bit before 2012, or during this period I'm representing now, but they broke the curse, didn't they? So I guess it was worth it. Maybe Cleveland needed to do that, or other teams that have been waiting for a long time. There's not many of them anymore. Here's Camp. He's already pitched 2 innings. Bogusevich coming in from the left-hand side did not start the game. Not a good contact hitter. Camp goes into his windup, top of the 9th inning now. The score is 7-1 Cubbies. 1-0 the count. And that's smashed up to center field. And that's a base hit. Easily taken by Sapelt. So Bogusevich is on first. That brings up Jason Castro, who I've quickly identified as being a decent player in 2012 for Houston. One of their probably highlights. Camp into motion and strikes him out. So a punch out there for Camp. Sean Camp. And that brings up Dominguez. Matt Dominguez had to play third baseman. And that is gone. So another home run tonight out of the blue. A 2-run home run from Matt Dominguez, who had previously gone 0 for 2. So just when I was feeling like this game is over, Matt Dominguez takes one deep into the Chicago night. Let's have a look at that again, shall we? Wow. That's in the street. What I like about that is you got 2 replays. You got super stat replay, plus you got a replay. I gotta see that again. Super stat replay. Boom! Wow! You have to save these stuff. That is out of here, Matt Dominguez. Wow. That looks pretty cool. I'll tell you what, they've done a great game with Out of the Park 24. Just easily the best one I've played, apart from maybe the first ones. But what graphics. Out the plate now, Matt Downs, first baseman. It's now 7-3. 1 out. Sean Camp, who was looking terrific, is suddenly now not looking so much. 1-2 to count. And that one's hit to center field, but Sapelt has the measure of it. 2 away. I feel like playing a season now with this 2012. At the plate, J.D. Martinez. 11 home runs to his name. In this game, he's 0 for 2. He's due. Camp looks in. Castillo puts a sign down. Camp puts glove to his face. Goes into his windup. 3-2 to count, and he kicks. And Martinez is jammed. Over to Rizzo. Rizzo flips it to Kemp, and that's the ball game over. Ball game over. Chicago wins it 7-3 over Houston and takes a 1-0 lead in the World Series. Wow, that was a good game. I enjoyed that. Whichever one you play, action or out of the park, they're exciting, you know. There are slight lineup changes and stuff that I noticed with out of the park. I find it easier to set up a season than action. But there's something else about action which makes me feel like I'm actually there. Not sure what that is. Maybe the generic sounds, maybe, or maybe it's Steve Tate's photos, or some of the stadiums. I'm not sure. But I'm not quite done yet with this. I really enjoyed that. In fact, so much so, if you're still following, I'm going to keep on broadcasting and do another one, or shall I? This is game 2. Right, so, big clue, if you come back in, I will show you how to put pictures in, if I remember myself. I generally can't remember. It's fairly easy, though. How do you put new photos into the game? I generally can't remember. I just know it's really easy. It might be... You could do it that way, but that's not the way to do it. There's an easy way to do it. In fact, I think I have to go to EL, League Settings, Editors. I'm sure there's a bit where you can actually import the photos. Maybe not. There is, in fact, there is a way. Hold on. Which way is it? FaceGen, yeah. This is FaceGen. This is generate new player pictures with FaceGen. It's all related to FaceGen. Global settings. You'd have to go to Beatles. Beatles did it very recently. I think when I was setting up on brand new, I can do it. As this league is already up and running, I can't remember. But when you do set up a league, it does give you the option to set it. Yes, which option you want. Do you want to use the real photos or the FaceGen? I actually like the FaceGen ones myself, but yeah, I like the photos in action. Yeah, so I guess it's a personal choice. I hope Legends joins us if he's available, if he's still here. That is, very little time commitment. It's not going to be long draft Legends. It's going to be maximum 3 hours, I reckon, if we do it the right way, like we said we would. But yeah, try Beatles one, Clue. Sorry to say that. I generally can't remember. I'll have to start it from scratch, and then I would be able to do it. But I like to see the players in their uniforms, in the right uniforms. It just adds a bit of, and that's on screen, not obviously on the field, because they all have the uniforms. I'm talking right now, like you see on the page right now. I like to see them dressed properly. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I don't want to see, I don't know, a picture of Ricky Henderson in his Oakland kit when he's playing for Toronto. That said, like I said, I don't actually mind it so much in action. I don't know why. Maybe because this is the way I've always played out of the park and I'm just stuck with it. Yeah, that's all right. I'm going to do another one, actually. I'm just going to do another one in the background. If you come back in, if you still stay, it's just to see. I don't want to do Houston again. So I'm just playing out their games. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Just go to EL, go to scores, Here is, and just quick play this out. So really, after 2 games, Houston are trailing 2-0 to Chicago. Sterling Castro with 3 for 6. Samaja got the win. Bud Norris got the loss. Rest day. Quick play. Houston wins this time, 4-2. Castillo gets the win. Castillo gets the home run. Dominguez hit 2 home runs, it looks like. Yes. Jordan Lyles gets the win for Houston over Justin Germano. Next one. Travis Wood versus Dallas Keuchel. Houston trail 1-2. This is a pivotal game. Win for Houston. They tied up. Travis Wood takes the loss, although he performed really well. Dallas Keuchel, is it? 5-2 in his 6 he gets the win. Anthony Rizzo went 2 for 4 in a loss. What I like about this is you can see the highlights. But I'm not going to do that now. So series is tied 2-2. The 2 worst teams in the league. Matt Garza versus Lucas Harrell. That was a good game. Here they match up again. And Houston takes it this time. Lucas Harrell, I begin to realize, must have been a decent player. Blue, was he? He gets the win. Garza gets the loss. Jason Castro went 2 for 4. And I begin to realize he's a decent player as well. So we come to the pivotal rest day. We come to Game 6. Houston lead 3-2. The Cubbies are at home when they've already got 2 on a record. Jeff Samaja versus Bud Norris. And Houston takes it. So Houston, 4-2, beat the Chicago Cubs 2-4. Jeff Samaja takes the loss 3-1. Bud Norris takes the win. So, very interesting to see that. That's that project over and done with already. If I just look at the league itself, standings, and what I like to do is look at the prospect pipeline between the 2 player teams, but it won't show me that because I'm in exhibition. I get it. If I go to rosters and transactions, there are some players in reserve here that I recognize. Carlos Marmol. That's about it. I don't recognize anyone in reserve for injured list at the time. None. So what about Houston 2012? Both these teams would win the World Series within no time at all from being the worst. Reserve roster. Tyler Green recognized him from somewhere. Is it Philly? I'm not sure. Don't recognize anyone on here at all in reserve. Wow, I must have really been far away from baseball. Must have been the last thing on my mind. Yeah, wow. Anyway, this game is a hit. There's no question about that. Just when I was leaning towards action, Out of the Park took me by a complete surprise this year. And I like it. And actually, I used to play Perfect Game more than the actual. But then last year, I didn't play Perfect Game at all. After meeting Beatles, I went back to Out of the Park a little bit, actually. Not much. Didn't do much with it other than do a 1959 to present day series, which I still don't know how to do. How to import. So that's that then for this broadcast. Thank you for sticking in, crew, coming in, sticking in. Those who put their heads in, thank you, Legends Sports Universe. Part of doing this stuff is the grind. I enjoy it because it's just for me, really, ultimately. But I do like broadcasting it as well. It's a lot of fun. You get to interact with people. I'm really, really thoroughly enjoying it. As I said, it rekindled my love of baseball, massively. I've even got a picture of Lefty O'Doul and Chuck Klein on my desktop. How sad is that? How sad is that? A guy that loves soccer and cricket has now got into baseball so much again. It's just brought me back to my teenage years of when I used to like it. Let's see if I can do this for you. New tutorial game. No, don't want that. We have to load a historical game, that's it. No thanks. Import complete history. Yes. In fact, the Negro Leagues are going to be great on here as well, to be fair. We'll do a single season replay. This is where you get it from, by the way. You do it from this. The pictures, I think. Could be right. This is how I remember it anyway. Go here. Let it load up the database. Do you actually have... You obviously have Out of the Park as well. I'm sure you do. You don't talk about your Out of the Park much. But it's really good to... It's just an awesome game. Always has been. Some years better than others. This one is... They've knocked it, excuse the pun, out of the park. It's that good. I've never had so much fun watching Lefty O'Doul and flipping Chuck Klein in the outfield beside the Lifebuoy sign in Baker Bowl. Is it Baker Bowl? Yeah, Baker Bowl. You know, it's so much fun. And even just now, the renders for these games, even the one in-game, are awesome. Was expect them to be. But the guy that makes them, Sylvan, or Mike Silver, he has done an amazing job updating these ballparks, you know. So here we go, just waiting for this next bit to go through to see what happens next, you know. And sometimes I sit here and just think, if I got a moment, I didn't work today, or I worked a little bit today, just thinking, what season would I like to replay, you know. 2012 something stuck in my mind. So I don't want transactions, I don't want historical lineups. Let's press next. I tend to go with Out of the Park development engine, so you get some more wilder variations in performance. But I've also used to like Recalc. That's much closer to what they really did. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? Good to see you, Bobby. Good to see you. Recalc player ratings before each season using real stats. That's good, so let's do that. Press next step. I'm just showing Big Clue, if he's still there, how to do the pictures. I think you put no fictional pictures, Clue. I still think it will come up, though. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but Beatles, like I said, Beatles Eternally does know how to do it much better than I do. I've just forgotten it over the years, but it is simple. Going to commissioner mode. We're in 1946. This is the year Jackie Robinson was playing for Montreal. I wonder if he's in here, actually, because I've got the Negro Leagues on. So he should show up. That's good, Bobby. Just a bit bored on Friday night. I was off today. So, just thought, you know what, let me just fire up Out of the Park. Also, I got my new PlayStation. I completely forgot. Unboxed. I need to open it up and see what's what. Or I might do some art. I use Daz 3D. And I haven't touched Daz for a long time. In fact, I've heard they've got a new character called Genesis 9. So I might have a play at that as well. And just to keep myself occupied, really. Klug's coming in and out. You see, Bobby C might not be here just yet. So what have you been up to, Bobby? Anyway, what have you been up to? You been working today? What have you been up to? Yeah, PlayStation 5. You know, I've come to the point in my career, Bobby, where, you know, you work so hard, and, well, I do anyway, I work too hard. I overbalance towards work for many years, and now I'm kind of like recapturing some of the things I used to do when I was younger, like hobbies. One of which is gaming. So, the PlayStation console is what I bought. Yeah, drawing. What do you draw? I mean, I've seen what you draw, actually. So I take it you don't do the 3D stuff, like Beatles does. I mean, I definitely have done it before. I haven't done it for a while. Yeah, I love art. Any type of art, whether it's writing or, what you're doing, drawing or painting. It's so therapeutic, personally. Yeah, definitely. Here we go. I was just doing this for Clue, so if he comes back, he can see how to put the pictures in, but I can't see it. So you're not an artist. You're no artist. I don't know. You're definitely into food, though, Bobby. That's one thing I did see. Like today, I did some chicken in my air fryer, so I seasoned it up with onions and garlic and paprika, a little bit of the old piri piri seasoning, some allspice seasoning. Also, I let it marinate for like 2 hours, and then put it in my air fryer. Oh my God, that was so beautiful! And I had it with just a little bit of rice. These were chicken thighs. But here we go. I can tell I'm bored because I'm talking about food. Here we go. So this is for Big Clue. Big Clue, I'm trying to see. It's under game settings, I think. I generally cannot remember. It used to be so intuitive, but the game has grown and grown and grown. It is so simple. Well, Bobby, it's not too bad. Tomorrow I'll do some spaghetti. And try that for the first time in a while. And then I'm going to go on a food diet. It's about time. Do you know what I mean? Just eating fruit and vegetables. And some fish as well. Should have some fish. So, yeah. There's Clue. Where is it? So Big Clue is back. I cannot find it. Clue? I cannot find it. No, can't find it. What I will do, Clue, though, just very quickly, is just look at the Negro League, because it is here. And this should have. Jackie Robinson's should be in here. So looking at the Negro League. Where is it? League home. Where's the teams? Yeah, they are. Clue. Yep, Big Clue's back. The Baltimore Elite Giants. And even I recognize this because Steve did such a great job with these. Joe Black would have been a Dodger the following season. There he is. These are guys, some guys made it. Ray Dangerous was 10 years too late. One of the greatest third basemen of all time. Ray Dangerous is a Hall of Famer now. And he never got a chance. What a shame. Let's have a look. Henry Kimbrough, decent center fielder. I've seen him in Steve's file. I can't. Bill Bird I've seen. That's Big Daddy Bird. Yeah, there you go. Daddy Bird. Never made it. Such a shame. Just born at the wrong time. Or some people said, I think it was Buck O'Neill said, born at the right time. I suppose another way of looking at it. Because it is special. Piper Davis, I've heard of. There's Lyman Bostock. That can't be right. That's not the same Lyman Bostock that we know. The one that got killed in 1978. That cannot be. You're funny. Yeah, Lyman Bostock. Unless there was another Lyman Bostock. It appears. This is the same different Lyman Bostock, although the photo might be the real one. Oh, they don't know that. Elite Giants. This is so cool to see the Negro Leagues in here. Don't know any of these guys whatsoever. This is 1946. So there's a chance that a lot of these guys had just come back from the war. Maybe didn't start playing baseball again. Let's have a look at the Indianapolis Clowns. Something I do know of. No. Don't know any of those guys. Strange. Kansas City Monarchs should have more recognizable players. Ted Strong, I know of. So, Chloe, if you had to put the pictures in, like Ted Strong, I would go to editor. There's a bit where you choose where to get the photo from. Again, this is the hard way of doing it. Here you are, picture functions. Input photo file. But again, I don't have the photos loaded. I have the face gen. Yeah, so, but like I said, Beatles will show you. Kilton Smith, we do know about him. He's in actually Major League, MLB The Show, Hilton Smith. Hank Thompson, another famous major leaguer, played for the Giants, the New York Giants. There's the great Satchel Paige, 39 years old, did make it to the major leagues. Let's have a look. Well, it's so interesting history. How they've managed to capture all of this is amazing. The Memphis Red Sox. There is Alex Radcliffe, brother of Ted Double Duty Radcliffe. So there's Willie Wells Jr., which must be the devil Willie Wells, or is it another Willie Wells? Because there's the Willie Wells. This must be his son. Wow. Willie Wells Jr. Very interesting. New York Black Yankees. None that I recognize immediately. New York Cubans. Alejandro Crespo, I do know. I played with him in Action PC with Steve Svell. Minnie Minoso. Look at that. Minnie Minoso. Who became a Hall of Famer eventually. Louis Tiant Sr., whose son should be in the Hall of Fame. Don't know anyone. That's good. Oh, that's really good. That's the New York Cubans. Newark Eagles. They've got some great names. These are the great players that we do know. This is Monty Irvin, who became a Hall of Famer in the major leagues, but he was a Negro leaguer who made it. Then there's Larry Doby, who, when he first came up, was the first black player in the American League. So, the mirror image of Jackie Robinson's the first in the National League. But it seems like he had a hard... I mean, don't get me wrong, to be subject to that kind of racial aggression would have been tough for Jackie as well as Larry. But apparently Larry had it worse. And I think only in the last 10 to 15 years, he's probably getting more recognition for what he went through just as much as Jackie. They don't retire Larry Doby's number, do they? And he went through the same thing, exactly the same thing, in the same year. He came up in the very same year as Jackie Robinson. Now, why did he get worse treatment? I'm not quite sure. Both had deplorable treatment, to be honest with you. But I think he was doubted by his teammates a lot longer than Jackie was. And also the National League, I think there were more, could be wrong, there were more black players around than there were in the American League. Although later on, the following season, he was joined in Cleveland by Satchel Paige and one or two others, I think, as was Jackie Robinson with Don Newcomb, Joe Black, Jim Gilliam, who followed in his footsteps. It's an interesting story of triumph over adversity or triumph over racism. Although this still exists to this day, I think it will never go away. But the exclusion that the black players had or the Negro Leaguers had was, it was what it was for its time. Sometimes with history, you can't judge it with today's eyes. You can look back, it was only going to evolve over time, wasn't it? And we now have, rightfully so, Jackie Robinson Day. Oh, at least you have the number 42 shirt, I guess, which is important. So it's very interesting. Let's have a look at New York Eagles. So if anyone joins in or playing this on replay, this should just be playing around on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, looking through the Negro Leagues. I'm very intrigued by this. Gene Benson. There's another one. Ed Stone, I've played with him in action. A good right fielder, I think. Not represented very well on stats here, but this is 1946. I played with probably an earlier version of Edgestone. This is really so fascinating. That's the Stars. Let's have a look at another one. Love the names of these Negro Leagues. The Pittsburgh hopes to great. This is cool. Papa Bell, who must be old by now. 42. God bless him. Sam Bankhead, again, old. One of the three Bankhead brothers. Buck Leonard, one of the best Negro Leaguers of all time, and a Hall of Famer. Wow. Josh Gibson, who would die long after this. 34, Josh Gibson. The most powerful hitter in Negro League history, I think. Howard Easterling, another good player in the league. Ted Radcliffe, which is Ted Double Duty Radcliffe, who I'm sure plays catcher as well. Yes, it's set to centre fielder, set to starting pitcher. So I'm sure it was a catcher actually, but maybe not in 1942. That's probably what it was. Sorry, from 1946. Dave Pope, I do know of, but just to look at the history, it's so fascinating. You know, I just love it. Like I said, these baseball games have just rejuvenated. Is he still there, Big Clue? So funny. Clue is really funny. So my broadcast is still going on, I hope. It looks like it's shut down. Why? No, it's still there. Yeah, Big Clue, I'm really enjoying looking through the improvement, actually, in what they've done. There's more stats in here now than there was a year ago. You know, just such a great history lesson, you know. If I go to, trying to find which team did Jackie Robinson play for in 1946. There was the Montreal Royals, wasn't it? So I type in Montreal. Ah, there he is. Matching teams, Montreal Royals. And there he is. Hey, Clue, jackpot. Clue. Look at this. Or anyone watching. Now, wasn't Al Campanis the actual guy that lost his job because of comments he made? Yet, shamefully, he played with Jackie Robinson. Like I said, you can't judge history through today's eyes. That's just, well, you can, but, you know, you have to make some allowances because things have evolved and changed and all that. But I did not know Al Campanis, who was a Dodger, or Dodger front office guy, played in the same minor league as Jackie Robinson. How interesting. Again. This is really cool. And I love the fact he's in the minor leagues. They do a great job of this. Spider Jurgensen, I do recognise, because I think he became a Brooklyn Dodger. Larry Rosenthal, I think, also. Oh, really funny. This is so cool. There is Jackie, a very old 27. Watch Jackie Robinson hit that ball. Rochester Red Wings. If you go back to the actual Major League, just go to the Major League, go to reports and info, go to top prospects and see who's in the prospects. Ah, there's your guy, Clue. There's your guy. Your guy's there, Clue. We can now see Ted Kluszewski. Big Clue is named after Ted Kluszewski. Born in Deloma, California, was playing in 1946 for the Columbia Reds. He was rated the number 4 prospect. His potential is 65. This is an 80 rating maximum. Home run power, obviously gets power quite late in his career. Real life stats are here. So he come up in 1947 for a brief cup of coffee, literally. Then, looks like went to AA. No, he came up in 47, that's fine. And then he was fully fledged from that point onwards. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I mean. Campanis. I do remember watching that video. And I'm sure he made a comeback. He was dismissed. But did he not come back a little bit? I'm sure he did. Look at this thing here. This is so cool. Just from a history lesson alone, it is an encyclopedia. Prospect pipeline. Okay. And this is for Major League. Let's do that again. No, let's do reports and info. Top prospects. There we go. Ralph Kiner, Pittsburgh. Ralph Kiner, Pittsburgh. I'm just having problems with my live feed here. Hopefully it's still working. Yes, it is. Looking at the guys there, Ralph Kiner, 23. Duke Steiner was at Brooklyn. Ted Klozuski was the fourth rate, or in this game anyway. Yogi Berra, wow, what a young man he turned out to be. Eddie Yost. Who did your team have, Cincinnati? Meet the team in 1946. Is there anyone here I know? Ewald the Whip Blackwell. Any good clue? Johnny Vandermeer I do know. I'm sure I heard Beatles trash him the other day. Ray Ironman Miller. See, this is why I keep them in the pictures in clue, because you get to see the uniforms. So cool. Alright. So that's prospect rookie draft reports and info. Player rankings in 1946. Ted Williams, Teddy Ballgame. Stan the Man Johnny Mize. Let's have a look at him. Now he said the New York Giants, look at their hat, their cap. So the Polo Grounds are obviously in the game, aren't they? So I might just have a little look at them. See Jackie Robinson hit that ball. Let's have a little exhibition, shall we? This will be the Kansas City Monarchs. I have no idea who he played for, this guy. It's Canadian. Jeez, I have no idea. Ah, there it is. Montreal Royals. So I'll play a little minor league here, or Negro League versus minor league. Yeah, that's what I understood. But that's what I'm saying. Did he not come back then? That was it. And never worked in baseball again. Funny that, isn't it? To see that I only just found out now that he was in the same team. We're going to see him now, actually. He's playing for the Montreal Royals in this team. Does he make the lineup? I'll make him make the lineup if necessary. Can I change it? There's Jackie batting number 3. And Campanis is playing shortstop. There you go. This should be fun. I like DH. No, I'll leave the DH off. Here we go. A little quick exhibition between the Montreal Royals of 1946, which has two historic, for at least 3 people that resonate. So, Jackie Robinson's at second. See Jackie Robinson hit that ball. Al Campanis, a very controversial character later on in the 70s, who worked really well in the Dodger front office, but is known for making some really stupid comments on TV, which I think just came out wrong. Well, not think, they came out wrong. Spider Jurgensen did become a Dodger. Marv Rackley, what did he become? He played for Brooklyn. Rosenthal, not lefty Rosenthal from Vegas. He was with the White Sox. So obviously he went to war, it looks like. Came back and played for the Philadelphia Athletics. And was kind of hanging around baseball by this point. Love the backstories. Jack Graham. Brooklyn, broke in with Brooklyn in this same year. Then he went to the Giants in this same year, so he was a prospect that got a little bit of a say in the league. Did Al Campanis actually play for the Dodgers? I don't think he did. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. In 1943, Al Campanis played for Brooklyn. And the pitcher is Kurt. I don't even want to repeat this. Davis. Let's just leave it at that. I picked the wrong one there. So, I remember looking back at history, there is a lot of stuff. So, Bucky Walters, let's have a look at what Big Lewis says. Give me a history lesson here. So, Campanis was fired and never worked in baseball again. He wasn't that far from retirement age anyway. Granted, what he said was a bad look, to say the least. But the man had a long history of working well with African Americans, and his substance got ignored due to the bad PR. That's true. In 1939 to 1940, champs were significantly older, worse by mid-decade. Didn't rebuild until the mid-50s. Right, got it. Bucky Walters won the NL MVP award. Mize was the original big cat. Look at Mize's size, 6'2", 215 pounds. That was achieved in the 1940s. Yes, Campanis was a teammate to Jackie's. That is far more indicative of his character than a few poorly chosen words. Yeah, and I understand to imagine what would happen today, Clue, in this world of woke. It would have been an absolute nightmare. Yeah, but it's nice to see that, obviously he's in history and he's in the game. That's what I find so fascinating about this out of the park particularly, but also in action. I don't know if he made action. He did play, but he's kind of like a Moonlight Graham. He didn't play that much, maybe 2 or 6 at-bats, I think. Not many. Here we go. Let's have a look and see what happens. At the plate is John Scott. Don't know much about John Scott. This bit I absolutely love. Really love this when they do this panning bit. And there's a walk. That's straight away. That's a walk. Sewell, don't know who Herb Sewell is. I'll do an inning. And that's hit to right field. And going back for the Royals is Graham. And that one is out of here. 2-run home run by Herb Sewell for the Negro League Kansas City Monarchs, the most well-known of the Negro League teams. So, 2-0 already. Kurt Davis won't repeat his middle name. Up against Willard Brown, who definitely was one of the better Negro Leaguers. Did Willard actually make the major leagues? Yes, he did. But for one season only. For the St. Louis Browns. And, of course, didn't do very well. But Willard Brown was one of the better Negro Leaguers, for sure. In fact, he might be a Hall of Famer. I'm sure he is. Here's Willard Brown to face Kurt Davis. And Willard Brown hits a really strange curving ball to right field, where it's taken by Graham. Here's Ted Strong, another well-known Negro Leaguer. And he strikes out, so that's the end of the inning. We've come to see Jackie today. So here's Hank Thompson at the plate, another major leaguer. And Thompson hits this to right field, and that's a base hit. Picked up there by the right fielder, Graham. So the AAA Montreal Royals are down 2-0 already. That brings up Jim Hamilton, the right fielder. And Hamilton hits this to right field. So the Montreal Royals are getting hammered here. They are from the International League in 1946. It's great to see these old-timers, right in front of your eyes, right in your living room on screen. This is Davis, Kurt Davis on the mound. Looking in, here's John Smith. This could be a generic player. Just happened to be called John Smith. And John Smith hits this to center field. And that is stopped by the center fielder, Rosenthal. So Montreal, off to a good start. Here's Jackie Robinson at second. And right beside him is Al Campanis. Davis into his stretch. And that's hit to left field. Should be easily covered by Rackley. And Rackley has it. So that's the end of the inning. Kansas City put 4 runs on the board. And the Negro League team lead 4-0. Hey, Beatles, just in time to see Jackie Robinson. We're doing a bit of a long one here, Beatles. Well, I've just been messing around all day. Here's Satchel Paige on the mound, 39-year-old Satchel Paige. This is 1946. He would come up to the major leagues eventually. Behind the plate, Mickey Taborn. At first base, the well-known Ted Strong. Second base, Hank Thompson, who had become a New York Giant. At shortstop, sadly, Willard Brown would not go more than one season with the St. Louis Browns, but was one of the greatest players in Negro League history. Third base is Herb Sewell. Don't know much about him. Left field is the generically named, possibly, John Smith. In center field is John Scott. And in right field is Jim Hamilton. So, Rackley at the plate. Just found out that Al Campanis played with Jackie Robinson. I did not know that. This is not Action PC, no. This is out of the park. I was started off with Action PC, showing off trying to get the AI to manage the 2012 Cincinnati. I'll get words wrong. The 2012 Houston Astros. And they were doing well. They were at 500 when I stopped after the second month. So whatever little tweaks I'd made might have made a difference. Hard to tell because it is slightly random in dice throws. But then I played a game between the Houston Astros and the Chicago Cubbies. That was a good game. Nice home runs and nice graphic on the home run, Beatles. I love that replay that you can show where it flies out of the park. So here we go. So I just fired up this while I was messing around, trying to show Clue how to put pictures in the game. I think you're the man for that, Beatles, I told him. Here's Satchel Paige now with his first pitch. Full count and dropped by Willard Brown at short. And the runner gets on. So Larry Rosenthal on base. That brings up Jackie Robinson. Big shout from the crowd. See Jackie Robinson hit that ball. So Jackie Robinson coming from the right-hand side, a man that can see a pitch from a mile away. Yeah, so here he is. He came in the last broadcast. It was nice. I've seen Ken all week. In your broadcasts, these broadcasts, it's nice to see him getting better. Here's Paige, and that's popped up to the catcher. No, the first baseman waves him off. And that is taken by Ted Strong. So Rosenthal on first. Here's Jack Graham, the right fielder. Paige looks in, and here's a fastball down the middle. Hit over the second baseman into center field. And Scott picks it up and throws it back into the infield. So the Royals with men at the corners. And Satchel looks in. Is he going to tell everyone to sit down and just pitch this guy out? So here's Lester Burge, first baseman, coming from the left-hand side. Lester does have some power. And there's a man out, but the run won't count. So straight to Willard Brown at short. And that's the end of the inning. Leading off for the Monarchs at the top of the second is Satchel Paige. Kurt Davis into his windup, 1-0 to count. And Paige hits this to left field. Out of here. Unbelievable. Satchel Paige takes the pitcher deep to left field. Oh, wonderful play by Satchel Paige, the showman. The man with flair, the man with the hesitation pitch, the man, the myth, the legend, Satchel Paige takes the ball out of here. Let's have a look at that again. That took me by surprise. Let's use Super Stats Replay. It was a sinker and a stinker. Look at the guy jump up on the fence. What animation. That is awesome. I've got to see that one more time. Kurt Davis, the pitcher. One more time to see that one. I've got to see it again. Watch the center fielder Rosenthal jump up and climb onto the fence. I never saw that until just now. Boom! What's Rosenthal? Or it looks as if he's gone on the fence, just clipped through. Wow. Satchel, Paige. Right, I'll set it to slow. That was superb. So what I'm going to do, Beatles Eternally, is give me a piece of brotherly advice and ask me to slow it down to slow. Okay. Is that right? 3D animation speed? Yep, okay. Let's see. So out of the plate is John Scott. Davis leans in. Anderson puts a sign down. Oh, that looks much better. And a walk. I kind of like it, Beatles, actually. Get a chance to get your words out before the pitch actually arrives. So Scott on first. Sewell at the plate coming from the left-hand side. Davis goes into his wind-up. 2-on-1 the count. Kicks. Yeah, I like it. That's hit to short. Jackie Robinson makes an error. Oh, my word. He double-clutched the transfer, and he'll hang on to the ball. So we came to see Jackie. And, yeah. It does, Beatles, actually. I quite like it. So Davis here. Here's Willard Brown. In his day, a great hitter. He's still got speed and power. Here comes the pitch. Willard hits it down to third. Nice play at third by Jorgensen. And Jorgensen gets the force out at second. So Robinson came across and got it there. It's much easier to follow, Beatles, I have to agree. So here we go. So this is a game in 1946 exhibition game between the Kansas City Monarchs of the Negro Leagues against the Montreal Royals of, I think it's the Independent League. In 1946, the team that had Jackie Robinson before he came up to the minor leagues. Before he came to the major leagues. Here's Davis now. 2-2 to count. Ted Strong strikes out. He's the strong man of the Monarchs. That brings up Hank Thompson, well known for his time with the Giants, the New York Giants, in the late 40s and early 50s. Davis goes into his windup. The Royals trying to contain the dam overflowing any further than the 5-0 thrashing they're getting. First pitch. And the runner will run down to second and safe. So, nice stolen base by Willard Brown. He has the speed. Anderson, not much of an arm. Let's have a look at Anderson's arm. 55. They were indeed. So we wanted to see Jackie Robinson. When we were looking at the roster, saw Al Campanis sitting right beside him. I was like, oh, that's interesting. With Campanis' 4-par in the late 70s, I think he was on TV. Here we go. Davis leans in. Thompson waits. What another count. And that one is just muscled into right field, but the right fielder will take it. That's Graham out there in right field. So that's the end of the inning. So we go to the bottom of the second. I will zoom through these innings. So welcome to anybody that's come in earlier today. It's been a bit of a long stream, unintentionally, but I just came across things out of the park I liked. I've been playing it for a lot less than I normally would, but that's because of action. But suddenly, I really like Out of the Park. Some of the graphics on there are just superb and it's surprising too. Here's Satchel Paige goes into his one at full count, and he walks the leadoff hitter, Ferrell Anderson. So Anderson, the catcher for the Royals, goes to first. That brings up Al Campanis. Not much of a hitter. Al's coming in from the left-hand side. Al Campanis waits for Satchel Paige. International League. So Al Campanis hits a little blooping ball into right field, but that's taken quite easily in the end by Hamilton for the Monarchs. The Monarchs and the Royals. It's all about royalty here. There's Jorgensen. One man out. Bottom of the second inning. One man on base. The Royals trail 5-0. Satchel has a big lead to work with. 1-1 the count. Jorgensen and Spider Jorgensen hits this into left field, up against the wall. The runner's going around second up to third. Jorgensen slides into second. Spider Jorgensen is a well-known name. So Montreal was... So Beatle says, yes, the Royals were affiliated with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Yep, that's correct. Montreal was the International League until they were replaced by the MLB franchise in 1969. I did not know that. Was that IRRC, so that 1946 team with Jackie Robinson won 100 games? Well, they don't look too good here. Mind you, their stats are relative to the major leagues on this particular section. So there's Satchel Paige, runner on second. Here's Kurt Davis. We won't repeat that middle name. Davis into short. Brown picks it up across the first. Got him. I do like it, Beatles. Makes it a little easier, just a little bit easier to call the game, although my voice is tired now. The great Satchel Paige on the mound. And up steps Marv Rackley. Anybody know anything about these players? Apart from Campanis and Jorgensen and Robinson, I don't know much about these guys. Here's Rackley. And there is a nice diving stop at second by Hank Thompson. But the runner looks like he scored. Yes, he did. So that's 5-1 now. The Kansas City Monarchs over the Montreal Royals. I'm having a real trouble saying both those names. It sounds so familiar. So here's Rosenthal, waits at the plate. Here's Satchel now. First pitch. And that is hit to left field. That's going to be a base hit. Another run will score. The runner from first will get to third and possibly come home. And the Royals peg it back. That's 5-3. So maybe they are a good team after all. So Paige has just given up 2 runs there. You won't be happy with that. There's 2 men out, 1 man on second. At the plate, Jackie Robinson. Yes, the Jackie Robinson. Playing here in 1946 for the Montreal Royals. Coming in from the right-hand side, Jackie. He's got a good eye. If he gets on base, he's got good speed. Paige into his wind-up. Jackie punches it over to Thompson at second. Thompson throws it to first. End of the inning. So Montreal score 3 times. The Royals cut into the lead. It's now 5-3 Kansas City. We're going to Kansas City. I can't sing it. Paul McCartney can sing it. Up to the plate steps Jim Hamilton, the right fielder, at the top of the 3rd inning. Big clue. You are funny as hell. For that clue, I'm going to start singing. So here's Jim Hamilton at the plate as Kurt Davis comes in. I'm just happy to learn about these players. I'll speed this one up because it's just nice to see Al Campanis and Al Jackie Robinson. It's almost like you get a chance to look them up and think about them for 2 minutes. And there's a home run. So the Monarchs, while we're talking to Jim Hamilton, just took Kurt Davis yard. So another home run for the Kansas City Monarchs, the Negro League team here, taking on the AAA team in a fine contest. I wish you could do exhibitions with them. I mean, you can. You can, like I'm doing now. What I meant was like a tournament, because that would really be interesting. So anyway, last one. I'm going to fast forward this game to the 9th inning. So here we are in the 9th inning now. The score is Kansas City 10, Montreal 6. It's been a hit fest. On the mound is Ben Cordoni, and at the plate is Lee Moody. Top of the 9th inning, it's close. 0-2 to count. Moody hits it to shortstop, and Campanis over to first. Got him. 1 away. So Ben Cardoni waits for Wiley. Steve Wiley, the pitcher, steps into the box. Are they going to pinch hit for him? No. First pitch, and Wiley hits this to left field, but that's easily gobbled up in left field by Rackley. 2 away. Brings up John Scott, center fielder. Coming in for the left-hand side, Scott is 0 for 3 today in a game full of hits. Cardone goes into his windup, full count. And that's smashed towards second. Jackie picks it up and throws it over to first for the easy out. So we go to the bottom of the ninth inning now. Can the Montreal Royals peg back the lead of the Kansas City Monarchs? So Marv Rackley comes in from the left-hand side now. He's 2 for 5 today. I do, Big Blue, I do. Yeah, Bobby, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm sure we all appreciate it. And love to know a bit more about your love of baseball. I'm sure it comes from somewhere. Beyond, watching it maybe on TV, maybe attending a ball game. I'm different. I never had the opportunity. As a kid, anyway. As an adult, I did, and I passed it up to go once. Here's Marv Rackley. Rackley hits that to center field. And the center fielder just comes in very slowly there. That's Scott for the Monarchs. Negro League Monarchs here. It was the premier Negro League team over those many years, often battling with the Pittsburgh Crawfords, the Homestead Grays, and many other famous names like the Indianapolis Clowns. Some great names. I'd like to get some of their shirts, actually. So here's Larry Rosenthal, the the center fielder, coming. He's 3 for 5 today. So he's had a good day at the plate. While he looks in, full count, and there's a shot to right field. It takes a wicked right-hand turn to right fielder out there, which is Hamilton, and there's another out. So here comes Jackie Robinson. Can he do something now to bring it closer to to a tie? Not on this one, but he can get on base. Wiley up down to Jackie Robinson. Did you see Jackie Robinson hit that ball? Here we go. And a strike, but the catcher throws to try and get the man out on first. Doesn't get him. Strong tags Rackley. Rackley's safe at first. Wiley looks in. Jackie waits. Steps out. Steps back in. Turner puts the sign down. Wiley goes into his windup. 1-2 to count. Jackie, just hits it softly back to second. Wiley snatches it for the out. And that is a soft ending to Jackie's day, probably. And that brings up Jack Graham now. 2 out. The Royals trail 10-6. Runner on first. Wiley looking to close this thing down. Graham is 3 for 5 today. He's had a good day at the plate. Got some power. Wiley into his motion, and a bit of a wild pitch that got away from the catcher. The runner does not advance. So his count is still 1-0. Wiley trying to wrap up the game here for the Monarchs. And as a base hit, no, yes, no, 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 yes, no. So it was driven to center field, and Scott did a dance backwards and forwards, gloved it, and that is the ball game. The Monarchs trot out onto the field to shake hands. So the Montreal Royals, which I'm now going to study and read up about when I finish this ball game, have lost the game. So there is a really good little look at the Negro Leagues, which I really enjoyed doing, because I know more about them now. And also a little dip into history to see, about the Montreal Royals. I'll have a little look about them. I know who Spider Jurgensen was. I know obviously Jackie Robinson, but I did not know how Campanis played for the Montreal Royals. So there's something there. And he's a character from history that's well remembered, but more for a silly interview he did than the fine work he did in the Dodgers organization. That clip does exist on YouTube to this day. Just looking at the league itself again, just one more look at it before we end. I do like to look at the Beatles team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Were they in the league in the 50s? Of course they were. Let's have a look. So let's have a look at Pittsburgh's team, because Beatles loves Pittsburgh, and he must love them dearly. They didn't look like they had that black and yellow or black and gold uniform, which is interesting. I didn't know that. Looking at their team, Al Lopez was a catcher for them, the Cleveland Indian, at one point. But hang on a minute, this is 1946. Didn't Al Lopez play for Cleveland in 48? No, he was the manager. That's where he was. So this is good to see. I don't see any stars here. I see Billy Cox, who will become a Brooklyn Dodger. I do know that. If it's the same Billy Cox, it must be. I'm assuming it is. I don't see Ralph Kiner playing center field. Ralph Kiner was 23 years old in 1946. So interesting. And also the pitching. Is there anyone? Preacher Rowe? I know who Preacher Rowe was. He was a Pittsburgh Pirate. Okay, did not know that. I can't remember. If you show me how to do it, I can't remember how to do it. I don't mind using FaceGen, but I know that Big Clue was asking earlier the very same question. And I think it's because I've always played out of the park with FaceGen. I have used real photos, but I've always... I like... It's what it is. I like using the uniforms. I like seeing the uniforms. I like to see the difference in the uniforms. Well, if you use the pictures, I don't see the uniform. So I've got a bit of a fetish for the players in uniform. G-Man Choi. Well, Big Clue, I did not know that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Because Big Clue, he was protesting about having to see your broadcast to see it. But I said, no, you got to see Beatles did it. I'm sure you did it the other day, Beatles. But I'll join right now just to see how you did it. Clue, you're coming. That's the end of it. But one of Jackie's teammates was Negro League great Roy Partlow. I didn't see him just now. Was he? Oh, was that in 1947? Well, I was just looking at Beatles' Pittsburgh team, because Pittsburgh became famous for taking on African American players. I know that much, and Latino. And that might have... I mean, they had a good farm system, wasn't it? Branch Rickey that left Brooklyn and then re-established Pittsburgh. Yes, I think I'm right. I'm sure I watched that on a documentary called The Ghost of Flatbush or something like that on YouTube that you recommended Beatles some time ago. Yeah. So, guys, if we go to Beatles channel, Beatles is going to show Big Clue how to do the pictures. So Big Clue, if you want to see the pictures, Beatles is going to show you now. And Bobby, if I see you there as well, I'll see you there. But guys, thank you for the support. As always, it's just a bit of fun, like for me, and it's nice to see company in the chat. I mean, and get to talk and also learn stuff as well. Thanks for that, Clue. You taught me quite a bit there today, and I really enjoyed that. And even earlier on when I was doing the action stuff, that's pretty cool too. So, yeah. All right, let's go to Beatles and see what he's up to. So anyone who pops in later, this was just me messing around with 2012, having a bit of fun. Then I did it in Out of the Park, got really into that because I like the graphics. And then I did a little look at Jackie Robinson in 1946, which was a lot of fun just looking at that. And also looking through the league, looking through the players, looking through who was there, who made it, who didn't. And then we bumped into Al Campanis, which is quite interesting as well, because he has his own footnote in history, probably overlooked for what he really did, which was positive, for silly comments he made on a video much later on in his life. I'd be curious to see what did happen to him afterwards, so I might do a little bit of research there. And that's, again, one of the things I like about Action or Out of the Park, is you get a chance to find out what happened next. Today, for example, I was reading about Pat Malone. Is it Pat Malone? The Chicago pitcher from the 1930s, and how good a pitcher he actually was. But then I realised also he was a bit of a drinker and would drink with Hack Wilson, which is quite funny to watch. And he'd get into fights. And the reason why Hack Wilson was traded from Chicago was because of the fact that it was interfering with Pat Malone's pitching, the drink. So they got rid of Hack Wilson, and Malone had a good career, to be fair. But I didn't know anything of that, see? So he promised me to go searching, and I find the story so interesting. Right. So, thank you, guys. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Beatles. Thank you, Big Clue. Thank you, everyone who popped in today. Much appreciated. And I'll see you on the other side. Or I'll see you in Beatles channel in a minute. Ta-da!